My dad and I are beginning a race to the Bundesliga today with a bit of added spice.
Yeah, boy.
You see, a team from the east side of the country has not won the Bundesliga trophy since the unification of Germany in 1990. And so we look to accomplish this task as we become the managers of Hansa Rostock and Dynamo Dresden, two teams who have unfortunately dropped into the third tier of German football. And so the race begins as Dad and I look to become the first East German side to win the Bundesliga. We've just got to hope that RB Leipzig don't beat us to it. Day one at my new job, taking over Hansa Rostock, and we have no real budget to spend and only a very small amount to play with the wages. Dad is in the same boat at Dresden as well. Although he has much more in the bank, he still has no transfer budget and a small amount left in the wage budget. What we have in our favour here, though, is that both of our clubs are favourites for promotion in Season 1 according to the season preview. And so it's just down to the system, as I'm looking at a 3 at the back, given that my best players are my centre-backs. Dad's looking more of a 4-4-2 formation, as he has 3 really good players in his squad that he can rely on this season to try and get in promotion. I've got one main target in Zardes, who's a good striker option. That might be my main weakness. However, other MLS clubs are bidding as well. And of course, he decides to stay in the USA, so I've moved on and found a decent centre-back on a free transfer to go for instead. And that's because I have found a young striker in my academy with good potential that I'm going to throw into first team football this season. Meanwhile, Dad is looking for transfers and bids for Herbert Bockhorn, which is easily the best and worst name I've heard in a while. We are both getting rejected though and failing to make any signings this summer. Day one of the new season is underway though, and both Dad and I are picking up wins. It isn't until the next games in the DFB Pokal first round where we have very different outcomes, as I'm losing to Energy Cottbus and being eliminated by a team in our division. Meanwhile, Dad is putting on an upset, knocking out St. Pauli, who are in the Bundesliga. The following 2 games though, and Dad is dropping points, losing and drawing league fixtures. And so after seeing that and witnessing my young striker score goals, he's already thinking of changing his system. I don't think I need to change mine though, as Naderi, my young striker, is banging in goals for fun already. Right, Dad. Who can be the first East German side to win the Bundesliga? That's our task for this.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
The race to the Bundesliga, but with a side from the east side of Germany, which hasn't been done since, of course, the nation come together as one after the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Yeah.
And both sides, of course, of Germany combined to just become Germany. Aside from the old East Germany has never won it. So we thought this was a comment left by you guys at the end of the last series that this would be a good challenge to do. And Dad, we went down to the 3rd division.
Yeah.
And out of all of the East German sides, there was 2 that really stood out.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Dynamo Dresden for you.
Well, I picked them because my favourite team is Dortmund.
Yeah.
Stadium looks almost the same as Dortmund Stadium, all in yellow, so...
It's yellow.
Yeah. That's the only reason I picked this team. They play in the same colours as Dortmund, so...
Well, the kit isn't. It's more orange.
No, it's orange, but the
stadium looks like they've got yellowish seats.
I'd like the look of the stadium, and I thought,
the stadium
I'm going to go
looks
with that
fantastic.
stadium. Yeah, it does.
I am, instead, Hansa Rostock. Now, when I was letting you pick the team, I thought you'd go for Hansa because they have a ship in their badge, like Plymouth Argyle. Yeah. But obviously my mind was a little bit too complex for you, because you went with a colour instead of an image.
The look of the stadium more than anything.
Yeah. So I am Hansa Rostock. So we've got 2 teams actually, which, as you've seen, are previewed to be the 2 best teams in this division. I think one of us just came down from the league above, so we do have good sides. Now, we didn't have a budget to start things off. I brought in absolutely nobody. What I did do was bring a kid up from the youth academy who I thought looked quite good in this man here, Ryan Don Naderi, who is a 20-year-old German striker. And I thought, do you know what? Out of all the strikers I got, I'm going to put time into him because he's got a decent potential. So I'm starting him every single game. I'm going to lock this guy in. And so far, he's got 4 goals in 6 games in total for me this season.
Good start then.
Really good. Yeah. 4 in just the league alone. Yourself, Dad, if we're looking at what you've been up to, again, no signings. Didn't have the money to bring anybody in.
No.
But tactically, you're going with a 4-4-2 with 1 DM, one obviously an advanced playmaker.
I did start off the season with the advanced playmaker as a DM.
Yeah.
He was more of a an advanced playmaker, but I wanted to play him in a DM just to see how that would start off, because I do like 2 DMs, but it didn't start off too good. So I moved him forward just before the transfer window. So this is what I'm going to play with the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, looking at your schedule, it wasn't too bad, but a loss and a draw in there isn't, what you are really looking for.
Not a great start, so.
I mean, a 6-5 win.
That's a brilliant, especially away from home.
Yeah, you're also through the next round of the Cup.
Yeah.
Beat St. Pauli, who are actually a really good team. You're there in the Bundesliga, so you beat a team that's 2 divisions above you at the minute. So that's fantastic. And if we're looking at my tactic, actually, we haven't even really discussed it. Through at the back, we looked at the players straight away. The 3 best players for Hansa Rostock, or centre backs, and I thought, oh, here we go again. We're going through at the back. Let's just rock with it. So I've just put together a very simple three at the back. I've gone attacking because we're supposed to be one of the favourites in the league. Gone very simple in terms of the player roles, because these players, they're not amazing. So we're not looking at Segundo Volantes or wide centre-backs today. We're sticking with pretty much a very simplified version. And of course, Naderi is going to be locked into that advanced playmaker role up there. And schedule-wise, I can't knock it. We have drew 1 game against Osnabrück. We are going to get names wrong. Just throwing it out there early.
I like how you say we. I'm not even going to try, so it'll be you.
Yeah. I'll get names wrong. Dad just will just not even announce it.
That's all I got.
Yeah. But he has got, as we say, he's got a hat trick there. Look, Ryan, he's got all 3 goals against Arminia Bielefeld, which is great. Lost to Cottbus in the Cup, Energy Cottbus, but then I beat them 3-1 in the league, so I'm all right with that. I'm not too concerned about the Cup at this point. It is my favourite trophy. In terms of how the trophy looks, but I'm not too concerned about it. It's been a good start.
Yes.
So, season number 1, we're both title favourites or promotion favourites to go up. There's 2 automatic promotion spots plus a playoff position, so the top 3 has the potential of getting up into the 2nd Bundesliga, or Bundesliga 2 Bundesliga, whatever it's called. Let's see if we can do that in 1 season, or is it going to take us a while? Let's find out. Well, Dad's Dresden side adapted well to the change around in the tactics and started playing good football and scoring goals. That was until both sides clashed in Rostock late November, and Dad's defence couldn't quite handle our attacking threats as we stuffed Dad's Dresden side 4-0. Arguably, though, a much better result came in the 3rd round of the DFB Pokal, as Dad's Dresden team from the 3rd tier defeated the big bad wolf of the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich, in a 1-0 win in Dresden. Results at that point had certainly picked up for Dad, though, and he is still in 2nd place, but doesn't want the gap between us to open up anymore. What was crazy was my star man for the season was easily Naderi, who I promoted into the 1st team as he could not stop scoring. He became lethal up front for me, scoring in multiple games in a row to the point that we were unbeatable. That was until we travelled to Dresden, where Dad's side kept in quiet and bagged a 1-0 win. Shockingly, Dad had also gone on a crazy run, and that win helped his side jump into 1st place. Despite both of us being promoted already, the title race was now on, as well as the golden boot too, it seemed. His cup run was finished earlier on in the quarter-final stage by eventual winners Werder Bremen. But with 3 games to go in the league, nobody could have predicted the biggest bottle job possible could happen, because he followed going top of the league from beating me with 3 losses and finishing in 2nd place 8 points behind, while Naderi claims the golden boot. Well, there we have it. Promotion for both of us in that 1st season.
Yeah, brilliant.
I mean, the start was kind of, suggesting that we would go down that route. You almost threw it away at the end there.
I was trying to, wasn't I?
I mean, you were 12 points ahead of Ingolstadt anyway, so you were absolutely fine. But 90 points for Hansa Rostock, 82 there in the 38 games we played. We had great seasons. I only lost 2 games.
Lost 2.
You beat me in one of them. 1-0 away from home, but another 1-0 against Saarbrücken as well, who I think that was the team that knocked out Bayern Munich famously in the DFB Pokal 1st round, either this year or last. I can't remember which one. But profile of the league, if we're looking at that, 27 goals from my youngster that I decided to stick him up
Good
front.
decision, yeah.
Brought him up from the youth academy. Of course, he's now wanted by...
Yeah.
all the best teams in Germany.
Are you going to keep him?
You've got 2 players up there, Dad, which is great.
Yeah.
However, one of them will no longer be there.
No.
He is joining Kaiserslautern and refused to sign a new deal. He was 35 anyway, so either that or you would have picked him off.
He was going anyway.
Yeah, but a Dynamo Dresden kind of legend, really, because he's played there for 2 years there, another 2 years here. He's played for the club for a long time.
Scored a few goals.
As Stefan, and scored a lot of goals as well. So, a bit of a lower league legend, I'd say, the old German. But a lot of our players dominated the average ratings. The player of the match was that man we just spoke of then. The clean sheets, Uphoff, which is my goalkeeper there. So that's great to see. And even assist-wise, we didn't get the top one, which was a Stuttgart 2 player, but we got the second and third one, which is great. In terms of the statistics, we pretty much dominated that as well. I mean, I dominated it, to be fair. There's a lot of... you got the Dresden amount of goals, 93 there, but there's a lot of Hansa Rostocks in terms of everything else. My defence was good, but I was playing free at the back. Of course, I was already out of the cup quite early on. We already seen that, so I only had to focus on the league, which is absolutely fine. Whereas yourself, Dad, you got to the quarterfinals, which is really good.
Pleased with that.
For a team in the third division.
Yeah.
Quarterfinal against Werder Bremen as well. Bayern Munich, you got past Bayern Munich at that point.
Yeah.
So Werder Bremen actually went on to win the whole thing as well. So you were only eliminated by the winners of the tournament.
There we go then.
So great season all around. Now we're going up to the second division straight away. You've got to obviously replace the goals that you're going to be missing here. You've got a backup striker, of course, who scored 23 goals. Yeah. Or your second striker. So you are still be able to score. But there's a few players out on loan. And you've got £3 million, which that seems quite a good budget.
Yeah, I'm pleased with that.
Financially, you've got the money because £9 million. You had £10 million at the start of the season. No debts whatsoever. I can't say the same thing. If we're looking at my finances, I am in debt. And if we're looking at the debts, I have got debt. So it's not exactly on a level basis, but hey, I got enough grief when we were in Scotland about certain takeovers.
See, yellow's a good colour. Well,
yeah, 315 grand is what my transfer budget is. Still enough for me, I think, to make a few subtle changes. And looking at my squad, I don't think I'm losing anybody. Plus, all of my players are good ages. Like, if we're looking at these by appearances, that obviously he's coming back, which is kind of handy. But if you look it down, 30 is my goalkeeper, 31, a couple of centre-backs, just good experience. We're not looking at players who are 35, 36 that I'm thinking, I need to replace these guys at the minute.
Sure, yeah. Good squad.
Yeah, my squad looks okay. We are A-okay going into the next season, which I think we've got a good enough squad to survive. Just adding a couple of one or two would be my desired ambition for this season. And to see what we can do there. But yeah, 315k is not a lot. But anyway, we're going straight into the second tier.
Yeah.
Right.
Pleased with that. Good season. Good start.
Absolutely. Let's find out who we bring in across the summer. Into the Bundesliga 2 then with our East German sides, and it's time to strengthen our squads. Given the lack of budget I have, I glanced at my youth side and found a player who must be good with the amount of interest being shown in him. But I did find a defensive midfielder who I have decided to promote to the first team, and he could definitely be of use this season. Dad, on the other hand, is enjoying the money he has to spend on bidding on many players. I seen a player though that I just had to go for, and I spent all of my budget to bring him to roster, which was also the same club that Dad bought a striker from as well, so I wonder who will have the better season. Dad is struggling, however, with a lot of his targets choosing to go elsewhere instead of joining him at Dresden. His scouts found him a quality centre-back that he decided to approach, but then just like that, the centre-back was signing for somebody else instead, leaving him having to go for a third or fourth choice option on more than one occasion on a transfer target this season. Alongside Answer, I have signed 2 more players for free transfers, a goalkeeper and another striker. Meanwhile, Dad was spending his budget on a different method, spreading across multiple players. And it paid off for him as the opening fixture, 2 of his new players scored in a cracking 5-2 victory. I was still smiling though, because after winning my first match 2-0, we are scoring 6 away from home in my second. And in the DFB Pokal, we are somehow battering a very good Dortmund first team 3-0, and we even missed a penalty in the first half. Our start to the season has been remarkable, and we've only dropped 2 points to Hanover, who are one of the biggest sides in the division away from home. Dad has lost the game 5-1 to the same team we beat 6-0, but he can still be very happy with how his Dresden side has started the campaign. But with our very different approaches to transfers this season, will I regret splashing all my money on just one player? Now, as the saying goes, Dad, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
You did.
I did.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have £4 million, I'll be honest. I did it in installments because when I seen this player pop up, I thought, I need that guy on my team. So Ilyas Ansa, the 19-year-old striker, he is very pacey, very strong, good finisher of the ball, great off the ball, 6'4" as well. He even winds opponents up and argues with officials. Now, if that isn't somebody you want to get yourself behind as a Hansa Rostock fan, I don't know what is. So I've brought him to the club with it was like £300 grand up front, which was all of my budget, and then stupid amounts of installments. And I even bit the bullet because he does have a release clause which is lower than what I actually paid for him in the beginning. But even if I just get a season out of him and he's good enough to get us close to a promotion spot, who knows?
Yeah.
He's actually started very well for me too, getting 4 goals in 5 games, 7.8 average rating.
Worth the gamble then.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what's happened here, but we have somehow gone into a higher division and end up looking like we should be like absolutely slapping this division up. I mean, I haven't changed the tactic very much. I've literally just moved one of my wingers into a target forward and put Naderi in there because else he wouldn't play. And I still want to give this guy a game. But there are a couple of other transfers that have joined the club. Only 2, and we've got Stritzel here, which is a new goalkeeper. He's actually been playing for me as well. And then Guy and Benza, 2 strikers. So another striker come in, who again is quite good. And he's got 5 and 5 as well. So they're scoring goals.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Yeah, at the start of the season, we've
bad for me.
been banging in the goals. We've only dropped 2 points there against Hanover away from home. Hanover was one of the best teams in this league. It was an own goal as well to begin with, which isn't great. But I knocked out Dortmund in the first round of the cup.
That is good. 3-0.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not quite sure what's going on here. And people are going to roll their eyes and go, oh, here they go, just swanning all the way up to the Bundesliga within 2 seasons. But what can you do when you've struck gold like this? We have started off very well indeed. I mean, this is still early. We're only about 6 or 5 games into the season. Anything can change. But I mean, you're sat in 4th place as well, Dad, and doing very well.
Yeah, we're 3 points behind you.
Yeah, because transfer budget-wise, if we're looking at it, you obviously had a lot more. You spent £1.6 million there. You did sell a couple of players as well. And you probably did the smarter thing. Whereas normally I'm the one to do the smart thing. You normally do the really dumb things, which is funny. You've done the smart thing here. You've brought in free transfers.
I'm feeling a bit ill now.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch you off guard. And then you got some free transfers that have come in, which, instantly improved the side. Marco Rog, really good free transfer, but you only had to pay a little bit of compensation to go in your midfield there. He's been around Europe, in fact. He's been really good. Felix Platt, who's, again, a good striker for this level.
2 good strikers I brought in for this level. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Pace and strength, he's really good. Tall as well. Nduka Jr., 700k for this man at centre-back.
This was probably my best signing, I feel, for a centre-back. I thought he was really good.
And you did struggle for centre-backs.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
about 3 or 4 turned you down.
Turned me down, yeah. But I end up, I feel even the ones that turned me down, this was still the better one.
Yeah.
And I got him near the end, and he's a good Bundesliga standard as well.
Yeah.
So.
And then Rodrigo Moreira, another good centre-back, to be fair, who lacks a pace.
2 really good centre-backs, I think, I bought in. So.
Yeah. Lacks a bit of pace.
Maybe my defence quite strong, really.
Might not need it. He's also out for 2 months, so you've got the curse here.
Yeah.
See, when you're smart, you get the curse of the August injuries.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Dad, but there we go. So, yeah, you've made some great signings, to be fair, and your team, obviously losing the likes of your top scorer last year, recovered quite well. I mean, if anybody offered you 4th place after the first 5 games, you'd snap the hand off.
Definitely, yeah.
And you're sticking with your 4-4-2.
Yeah, I didn't want to change it, so got 2 new strikers in and 3 new defenders in. So I'm quite happy with that. Fingers crossed it'll go all right for me.
Yeah.
I'm looking sort of like, looking at that, I'm sort of thinking, top half of the table?
Yeah.
Just above halfway, I'll be happy with.
All right. Well, you're also through to the next round of the Cup as well. The game that you did lose against Elversberg, 5-1, kind of those ones you just write off, really, isn't it? But you drew against Darmstadt, again, Not a bad result, really. No. Away to Darmstadt, who have been in the Bundesliga quite recently. Not a bad result, to be honest. So, good wins against Holstein Kiel, who were in the Bundesliga and just been relegated. Kaiserslautern, again, a very big team in German football, just in general, but in the second division, massive club. And you go away from home and you beat them very well after being 2-0 down.
Good comeback, yeah.
So you can't argue that this has been a great start for both of us. But will it continue as we go into season number 2 in our race to take an East German side to win the Bundesliga? Unlike last season, the clash between both our teams in Rostock was a tight affair, and just the one piece of magic from the boys in yellow helped Dad claim a good away win. He even got revenge against Bremen from last season too in the third round of the Cup. No doubt about it though, Dad's team was cooking in the second tier, but I was right there with him also, just 3 points behind by the winter break. Neither of us could sustain quite as good a record in the second half of the season, but most important result came in Dresden, as I beat Dad 2-0. Dresden in the Cup continued to surprise people and even managed to knock Hanover out on penalties in the quarterfinals. Eventually, Dad's side failed in the semi-finals against a very good Leverkusen team. Although Dad wasn't winning as many games, he was still very hard to beat, and this league was more competitive. However, will he be kicking himself that he gave away those 3 points to me on home turf? Because that win was just enough to make sure that once again I was champions of the league, with Dad very close in second place, just 3 points behind. I don't know how we've done it. Back-to-back promotions for the both of us.
Wow, that is brilliant.
That's mental, isn't it? I mean, you almost threw it away, I'll be honest. Like 68 points, same as FC Cologne.
But looking at that, look how many games I drew. I only lost 4.
Yeah.
And drew 11 games, so I could have done this league comfortably.
Especially when you look at the goals that we scored and conceded, because, I mean, I scored 1 more than you and conceded 1 less.
Yeah.
And obviously our goal difference is very tight, but obviously you drew so many games and I lost more games, which is quite weird to look at. You beat me there 1-0, and then I must have beaten you 2-0 when we were at each other's ground, funny enough. But I just can't get over how we've just flown up both the league. I mean, I expected it in the first season because we were the 2 title favourites.
Yeah, we were the favourites, yeah.
I was thinking, let's get a nice little secure mid-table where like Heidenheim is right there. Yeah. Build on that. But we've absolutely stormed through this.
The only problem we've got now really is our squad good enough to be in that top
Have
league?
We gone up too quickly?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, all right, our squad might... We probably had a good squad for that league when we first started.
Yeah.
And we've just improved it slightly.
Yeah, I agree.
But is it good enough to be in that top league? I'm worried now.
Yeah. Almost like when Luton got promoted a couple of seasons ago, and you're looking at the side and you're like, well, a lot of these were League One type players.
They couldn't buy a win, could they?
Yeah.
Because you can't change that amount of players all in one season, can you?
No.
So I'm a bit worried. I'm pleased I'm gone up, but I'm a bit worried now.
Well, you might be all right because your budgets were okay.
It was, that first season. Yeah.
Mine were pants. So we'll have a look at that in a sec. But Bialek got yourself 20 goals there. He was also the average rating, the highest for the average rating. Guy Benza, which was the striker I didn't expect out of the 3 to be playing. He got 19, so that's quite impressive, to be fair. And Nico Neidhart got 14 assists, which was the highest there as well. In terms of the other competitions, obviously I knocked out Dortmund, but then Kaiserslautern knocked me out in the next round. But fair play to you, Dad. I mean, getting to that semi-final against Bayer Leverkusen is absolutely mental. So fair play to you.
Got to the final.
Yeah, it would have been against Bayern Munich.
You got 3-0.
Trounced over it. Yeah,
it's a comfortable win for them, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's still impressive to get to. It's still very good.
That might have helped my budget as well. I might have put some monies in the old...
Yeah, well, that's it. There's always good money as well in Germany.
Yeah,
we know that. It's very good, very lucrative league to be in. You've got yourself £5 million with a 100k wage budget, which is very nice to start signing those free transfers that you can pick up from bigger clubs.
Yeah, definitely.
And build on this as well, that we can sort of invest in the infrastructure of the club. Obviously, that's what we got to do. As this reputation goes up, you want to be matching it with the training facilities. Obviously, adding more scouts and stuff, because when we started, I mean, you've now got the ability to get 2 more scouts, but when we started off, we both only had like 4 scouts each, so it's going to be difficult to find players. Scouting ranges, things like that.
As well, weren't they?
Yeah, like you can only scout lower leagues of Germany to begin with. That's the trouble I had. But yeah, up in that until you go into Europe, that'll be great. But yeah, you've got a nice little budget, to be honest. And squad-wise, obviously, you got 22 goals there from Bielik, but Platt also got 18.
Yeah.
The striker from last year got 13. So
Pleased with those 2 signings. Yeah, they've done well, really.
not too bad at all.
And the age group of my players is quite good as well, like you were saying about your team.
Yeah.
So I'm quite happy with that as well.
Yeah. Looking at my squad, we got 20 goals from Mbenza. I locked in Naderi. He got 15. Nobody wants him this season. Answer actually, unfortunately, became a sort of a casualty of that. He got 10 goals, but he only played 19 games starting and 3 off the bench with 3 assists. So I'm kind of like, oh, I wish that Mbenza didn't play as much, because Answer's kind of like the future why I signed him for. He is wanted as well, which worries me a little bit, because of course his release clause is a lot lower than what I'm going to be paying for him. And again, my finances is, I mean, it's 11 million, which is the most it's been, because as you can see here, it has gone down at some point. We've only just been given the money here. But it's the debts and loans that worry me, because they're only giving me £1 million transfer budget with not a lot of wage budget either. So what I'm going to do with that money in the Bundesliga is going to be probably really tricky to stay in that division now. We've really got to scrap for those little bargains and maybe a loan or two, because we haven't necessarily used the loan market at all. Haven't needed to.
Well, I think we didn't we look at it for the first season, but no one wanted to come to us.
Yeah, we couldn't get anybody.
We were fortunate, really, that we were probably the best squad in that league at the present time. But we didn't actually know that, did we? We just knew we were the favourites.
Yeah.
We didn't know how it was going to go. So we did look for a couple of loanees, but no, we didn't get any. But yeah, I mean, you definitely have. I might be all right with.
Yeah, you might be okay.
Got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all dependent on our recruitment. Can we bring in some good players or not to stay in this?
Youth recruitment's got to be really good for this, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we've been quite lucky. There's a couple of good players in our youth
Yeah.
academies. I've already got bids for one player that's coming in for a 15-year-old. I'm like, well, he must be good.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things to look at. But this is obviously our target eventually. Bayern Munich at the top there. 86 points. 21 points above Dortmund.
Yeah.
And they're dominating the average rating. Harry Kane's getting 23 goals. We've got a bit of a job on our hand, but that's for the latter part of this challenge.
Our target is to get into the 40s, I think. That'll be mid-table.
That would be mid. Well, yeah, if we... It also gets you...
Well, you look at it's 40 to 47 and you're into the Europe then.
Yeah.
So it's not a lot of difference there, is it?
No, I'm thinking get 35 and we might be all right,
Yeah.
to be honest. All right, then. Well, you'll have to tune in and find out and see how we do in season number 3 of the Race to the Bundesliga.